When I started, you kind of have this feeling of invincibility. I think like most 21-year-olds do. I have a 21-year-old son now who I think feels that same way. And so there's kind of this feeling of invincibility that you have when you first start. And of course, you think that all your training is going to keep you safe, and your equipment, you've got a vest, and on the motorcycle, I've got helmet and riding gear and that kind of stuff. And so I think there gets a little bit of a false sense of security when you're that young because you're a little naive, right? You just haven't experienced the world enough to understand. As far as the job itself, my eyes were really open because I grew up in Glens Ferry. And so going from almost no crime and working there for a short time, really not dealing with much. I mean, you'd have a domestic every now and then, or maybe somebody who drank too much alcohol every once in a while. But then going to Twin Falls, which at the time when I started with Twin Falls was in the late 90s. And when I started there, Twin Falls was one of the highest crime rate areas in southern Idaho per capita. I mean, it was a smaller town, much smaller than Boise. But there was a lot of crime there. And there's one part of town that was really a 2-officer response that we had to take 2 officers into. So that really opened my eyes. And I was able to gain some experience as a police officer that, quite frankly, I don't think I would have gained nearly anywhere else in the state of Idaho at the time. And so it really taught me to be more aware of my surroundings, to use officer safety. And I'll be honest, I would put the officers that I worked with in Twin Falls in the late 90s, I'd put their skills and abilities against any police officer I've ever worked with in any agency. Phenomenal officers, phenomenal training officers, great experience. Our chief at the time, when I got hired there, came from Fullerton, California. So he brought a lot of really innovative and new ideas to a community that's largely a rural, or was largely a rural community at the time. And so we were able to get really good quality training, really good experience, really good quality equipment that I don't know if they had that prior, because I obviously wasn't there. But when I first got there, we were trained as well as anybody and equipped as well as anybody. And so it was phenomenal.
And I'm assuming by this time you've had to go to post, right?
I had. Yep. They had sent me to the academy. And actually, so I went to the post academy, but then Twin Falls ran a short advanced academy, which was kind of unheard of. Boise PD had an advanced academy at the time, but I think that might have been the only other one in the state that actually sent you through their own academy after going to the post academy. So again, kind of that idea from Fullerton, I'm sure, from Chief DeVore, was really that innovative, hey, you learned how to do it, how Idaho wants you to do it. Now we're going to show you specifically how Twin Falls does it.
Yeah, that's pretty progressive thinking, hey, we're going to do this, but we're going to even throw more on you. For a department of what size were you at the time?
At the time, about 36 officers, so wow. Small.
Yeah.
It's really a pretty small, or was a smaller department.